Hi, I'm Joe Frasco. Welcome to episode 5 of The Current. Today we have two exciting guests from Rise Up Community Farms that are here to talk about the organization and how it impacts the Wilmington community. So let's get to it.
Thanks, Joe. I'm Nick Froats, and today I'm joined by Maria and Riley from Rise Up Community Farms. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
I'm Riley. I'm a junior at UNCW and a nursing major.
I'm Maria. I'm a senior and psychology major with a leadership minor.
Awesome. So can you guys tell me a little bit about Rise Up Community Farms?
Rise Up Community Farm is essentially like a big community garden. We are working to educate the community about the impoverished peoples here in Wilmington and what we can do to help them and allow them more resources and fresh produce that most people don't get when you're in that situation.
Right.
Yeah, it's a mission that Mayor Carl and Daniel Fisher had and have continued to have, where everyone's really deserving of food. And when you think about going to a local food pantry, you get non-perishables, but people don't necessarily get fresh produce. And so they wanted to change that concept because they're just as deserving as getting fresh produce as well.
How did you guys get involved with Rise Up Community Farm?
We're both part of the work study program here at UNCW. So
Right.
if you don't know what that is, it's where we are allotted a certain amount of financial aid, and in order to get that financial aid, we work a certain amount of hours for the week, and it helps us be able to focus on our studies, but also get the funds that we need to complete like our daily activities.
Right. Do you feel like Rise Up is different from other work study opportunities around here at UNCW?
Yeah, I think so. It's very different because, one, we're off campus, so we go to that. We go in the mornings from around 7 o'clock till 11:30, so that's before our classes or before work or any other things that we have during the day. So it starts really early, and we get to really just focus out on the land and get our hands dirty and get involved with our community, and just, it's a great way to wake up to, so it's very different than your most typical desk work study jobs here out on campus.
Right. So tell me a little more about the work you're doing there. I know you mentioned getting your hands dirty. What kind of stuff would you do on a typical day of volunteering there?
On a typical day of volunteering, it honestly depends on the season that we're in. Right now we're in a bit of a transition period between winter and spring, so we're getting all of our summer veggies prepped and doing a lot of preparation, because we also focus on organic farming and making sure that we're replenishing what we're taking away from the soil. So adding a lot of nutrients back into the soil, rotating crops, working with other community members to make sure we have our harvest for the week so we can donate it to the food pantry. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so usually Tuesdays we do most of not hard work, but most of just the keeping and the maintaining of the farm. And then usually on Thursdays is when we actually do the harvesting in the mornings, because that's the day that the food pantry on site we go take the food to. So that's your typical week. And then again, like Riley mentioned, we are in a transition period. So once the summer hits, we actually have more of a youth internship that we also get involved, because that's a part of what Rise Up does, as well as empower the youth. And that's one thing that they do, but it just depends on the day. We also have second Saturdays that we have as well, where we have volunteers come. But that's typical, depends on the season for sure, as Riley mentioned.
Right. So what are some of the projects that you've worked on that you felt especially impacted by or are particularly proud of?
Oh my gosh. Well, we work with like different organizations in the community as well. So not only are we like working with Eden Village, which is a little tiny home community to help the homeless get back on their feet and provide opportunities for them. We work with organizations like Vigilant Hope, and their mission is to provide work for people who might not be able to find it and then allow them to get back into a better situation. And then we just work with a wide variety of volunteer groups, anywhere from like Girl Scouts digging up sweet potatoes, which is fun and a unique experience because you're there as like a mentor and someone older who can provide like a different perspective on life that they're living. To like, UNCW students who might not know much about like the community and why we're here doing what we're doing. So it's a wide variety of experiences for sure.
Right. Do you have any particular stories about an individual life or an individual thing you've seen touched or changed through Rise Up that you felt was especially powerful to you?
Just even thinking about that makes you want to tear up, because I think a major part of why I got involved with this organization was one, it was during COVID and I was trying to find a work study job that was outdoors and I have to worry about COVID and having an indoor job for work study, and it has really transformed my life, but it also transformed like the people around me. And Riley and I are really close, but everyone there as well, like Ashley and Mary Carl and Catherine and Sarah Grace are just a great community to get to go to. They're great mentors. And so just like how they're investing in us, we're investing in them as well. So I think overall that's one of the biggest things that has touched like our lives, because we go in there every morning and work, and as we were working we talk about our days, or they ask how we're doing, and they're really genuine about that and they're very intentional. And so overall I can say that because of Rise Up Community Farm, I am a different person than I was, and it's been the most impactful in being here at UNCW, because not only am I involved with UNCW, but I'm also reaching out at the community in the Wilmington area.
Absolutely, yeah. Do you have any successes or challenges that you feel like you faced through this organization or your time with it?
I think one challenge that I can think of is that when you think of leadership, sometimes you think about being a leader for, I guess like we would be a leader to younger kids, but in reality, our title is actually a supervisor. So we supervise a lot of the volunteer groups that come through Rise Up Community Farm. So a big one is we actually are kind of in charge of older adults. So one thing that like not a challenge, but something we're able to work with is having that more of just coming together as a community and doing it together, whereas telling them what to do, if that makes sense. So we're coming in and we're working with it together, learning something new about farming. And so that definitely has given me a different perspective on leadership. But overall, in general, just having to work with the community, even though we're younger than most of the volunteers that come in, they see us as just as potential to do as well. And then also they just trust us and we work together to learn something new at the farm as well.
Right. Let's take it in another direction. How do you think the community can best get involved with Rise Up around here and in the Wilmington community in general?
We actually have a really great opportunity for that. It's our second Saturdays. So every second Saturday of the month, we have a designated like first time volunteer day, because on a weekly basis, you might come out and think, I want to volunteer every single day, and then you're like, this is not for me. So you can come to that second Saturday, and it's from 8 to 12, and we just kind of show you what we do and why we're here, and get you a little bit of that hands-on experience that might get you started. And then if you're still interested after that second Saturday, we'll get you signed up and ready to go for a more regular schedule with us during the week.
Right.
Yeah. And then, of course, for second Saturdays, we ask that people sign up for that through our website. And another way, not to shamelessly plug this in, but is to donate as well. There's a lot of great opportunities that I know for, even if it's like $5, and I don't mean to go ahead and tell everybody to donate, but it's also just a way to just also provide supplies for the farm as well. Because of course, we are a nonprofit, so it always, even if it's a generous donation, is also another way to get involved if you can't necessarily go to the farm as well.
Right, absolutely. How important do you think it is for individuals to volunteer, especially people like our age who are just learning about the world and might not have much experience?
I think it's really important actually for people to see what's going on in our community, because we're not going to be able to help or do anything about those aspects if we know nothing about them. So, I mean, growing up, like, I was very aware of food insecurity, and I had some work in that area, which is what led me to Rise Up. But I feel like a lot of people come in and they don't know about food insecurity or how many people in this community are actually impacted by it. So providing a setting where people are going to be able to learn about that and provide not only you can donate monetarily, but I think the more important thing is the hands-on work that you're donating, because that's more valuable than a lot of other things. So just getting people involved and making them more aware of the issue.
Right. You spoke a little bit about people are unaware of certain issues in the community. Are there any particular issues or things that come to mind when we say that you think more people should know about?
Definitely food insecurity for one. There's about 36,000 people who aren't really sure where their next meal is coming from. And when you think about Wilmington, I mean, we're a big city, but that's around 10% of our population. So, 1 out of 10 people aren't sure if they're going to be able to provide food for themselves or their kids. And then also the food desert issue. So a food desert is where people are having to go over a mile away to get their groceries, and that doesn't sound like a lot to us because we have cars. We could drive down the street to Lowe's. But for a lot of people that are in that situation, they're having to walk. So if you're walking a mile every day and you have like 3 kids with you, and say the nearest grocery store is a gas station, you're not actually going to be getting like healthy essential food that you need. So there are about 8 different food deserts here in Wilmington.
So I know you both have touched on how Rise Up has changed you personally. Can you touch on how you feel like, if at all, it's made you a better leader? And if so, in what ways?
Well, I think definitely, again, one thing of their points is empowering the community. And just like they empower the community, they've empowered us because they give us this knowledge, but also this hands-on opportunity to get involved within the community at the farm. But they've also just trusted us a lot in these opportunities. We were work-study students, and we were given the role, not given, but we applied to the role of supervisor. And so now they trust us to be able to lead other groups and get involved. They share a passion about the farm, and overall we just want to be able to give back because they've given so much to us and other people in the community as well.
Right, absolutely.
I think like a big part of what I've been taught is like leading by serving. Like you can't be a leader and be like, go do this and this and this. You have to be an active member of the team and be someone who's supporting everybody else and actively involved in the projects that you're doing. So we have to rise up the others before we can rise up ourselves.
Right. And I don't think you could have said it any better. So wrapping things up, are there any upcoming events that we can look out for, anything relevant to Rise Up that we as the community can be looking for?
Well, our second Saturday is coming up.
Saturday.
If you would like to get involved, there's definitely that. It's going to be April 4th, I believe. No, that's wrong.
April 2nd.
April 2nd. So come out, volunteer. We'll have a lot of good projects, maybe some planting that we're doing. Anything else?
Well, it's actually not April 2nd. It's like April 6th, one of that weekend. It's the second weekend. It's the second Saturday of April.
Yes. Okay. So the second Saturday of April is when we'll have our second Saturday, and you can sign up on our website and come join in and do all the activities with us.
Right. Awesome. Finally, if you had to say one thing about Rise Up that we haven't covered, what do you think it would be?
I would say give it an opportunity. I think a lot of things, as a college student, even before coming, I never wanted to be outdoors, and I'm completely the opposite now. I love to be outdoors and just get involved, and I think overall we get, especially when you come to college, a new community, a new city, especially in UNCW. Mary Carl actually graduated from UNCW, and so did Daniel as well, so they're just great, and they know the community really well and UNCW as a whole. But just give it an opportunity. I think that if you could just go out there for a day and volunteer your time, I think one of the biggest things that I learned from being a part of Rise Up is that no matter how small the tasks that I go there, every day I leave knowing that I'm making a difference at the farm and in the world, and that sometimes can get so encouraging because so much of the world around us is discouraging. But that's one of the biggest things that I learned is no matter how small the task, even if it's like pulling weeds from like one row or something, it's gonna make a change. So no matter how much you can provide or help us with, we're more than happy to have you come over, or anyone to get involved with Rise Up.
Right. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming in. I think this conversation has been super empowering for me. It's been great to learn a little bit about the local community and what we can do to change things. And I hope anybody watching it feels more encouraged to get involved with something like this. Because in the end, it's up to the individual. So I want to thank Riley and Maria for joining me today. And I'm going to toss it over to Michael Magnanti for Wave Watch.
Hi, I'm Michael Magnanti, and welcome to Wave Watch. Thank you, Rise Up, for an incredible interview. Rise Up Community Farms is a great asset to the Wilmington area due to their passion for the work they do and the relationships they create with the community through volunteering. Just in New Hanover County, there are about 36,000 people who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Rise Up is dedicated towards lowering this number while also providing sustainable foods. Not only is Rise Up dedicated to helping those who are hungry have access to food, but they are also dedicated to investing in the youth demographic within the Cape Fear area. The Carousel Center is a child advocacy center. This organization helps children who have experienced or are experiencing abuse, whether it be physical, sexual, or mental. One of the ways that this organization aids the Cape Fear community is by providing counselors that work with their children through experiences. While there are many more nonprofits in the Cape Fear Wilmington area, Rise Up Community Farms and the Carousel Center are just two that focus primarily on the younger generations. They are also great organizations to get involved with. To volunteer, head over to their websites or check Wavelink for volunteer trips posted by UNCW student-led organizations. That's all for Wave Watch. Catch you on the waves.
It was great getting to meet some volunteers from Rise Up. Don't forget to tune in next week for another episode of The Current.
I saw you look at me. I was like, ah.